Hello all, am I audible?
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, let's start in 5 minutes. Okay. Right, shall we start?
Yeah, let's start.
Fine. Can others also switch on the video so that we can have uh, Preeti and Sweta? They have also joined. Preeti and Sweta, if possible, just switch on your videos.
Maybe they are away from the laptop.
Okay, that seems to be the issue. Fine, we'll start then. We have already waited enough. So, hi everyone, I'm Nishanth. So, I'll be taking archaeology sessions for you people. So, I've given multiple mains and interviews, and I've been associated with Feynman IAS for last 3 4 years. So, been working with Venkat Mohan sir on various aspects. So, my option was anthropology, and before that, it was history. So, archaeology is quite familiar to me. So let's just try to understand. Just before starting, I just wanted to know what are the aspects which you have already covered in cultural anthro and physical anthro. So cultural anthro is completely done. Anyone can answer, Sunil or Vishal.
In cultural, we are doing the tribal part as of now. The cultural part is done, I would say.
Yeah, so marriage, family. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, but video is done.
Marriage, family, and all is done.
It's done.
So for how many of you it's first time with anthropology?
It's my first attempt itself. So I have taken.
Okay, your first attempt. You are Sunil, right?
Yeah.
So Sunil, you are the first attempt. Vishal?
Yeah, even mine, it's a first serious attempt. I had given prelims before without any preparation.
Great. Shweta?
That's my second attempt. And in first attempt, I didn't prepare for optional.
Okay, it was anthropology only, first option, first attempt also?
No, sir, sociology.
Sociology. Okay. Preeti, are you available?
Yes, sir.
Any
It would
issues?
be my first attempt.
Can you switch on the video if you have no issue?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, it's your first attempt with anthropology.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Right. So, in cultural anthropology, you are done with social part. Now you are in the Indian anthropology part, right? So physical anthropology, what is the status?
We're at 9.1, I think.
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand so that my pace can be set accordingly, because though archaeology is an independent branch in itself, but it does borrow from other parts of anthropology. Okay, so anyhow, so firstly, archaeology is the most neglected part of the anthropology. Okay, many students do not take archaeology very seriously, and then if you see the last 2 or 3, in fact last 3 4 years trend in anthropology, there is significant weightage for archaeology part, right? Have you all just seen the paper of 2020 mains? Just at least gone through it. So if you see, you cannot ignore archaeology anymore. You have to prepare for it. It is coming either as a 20 marker. In fact, it is coming as a 20 marker and also as a 10 marker. Okay, the famous question this year, which the Natufian culture, okay, which almost everyone felt was tough, was right away from archaeology. We had many 20 marker questions from archaeology. Okay, I'll just try to share the screen. I have prepared a PPT for this class. Is this visible? My screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
So our syllabus in anthropology, if you see, it's only 2 units across 2 papers, but the number of questions asked are significantly higher. So what are the various aspects covered in the archaeology? One is the Paleolithic age. Okay, you can make the notes of it. I'll go slow since it's our first class, and today class also will be by and large on basics, because if we jump into archaeology, it can switch off the people. So we'll slowly increase the pace. I'll take around 5 to 6 classes to cover the entire archaeology. And also, unfortunately, this is the most neglected part in many institutions. In many coaching institutions, archaeology is not taught. So what are the topics to be covered in the archaeology? These are Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, Chalcolithic age, megalithic burials, Harappan culture, Iron Age, and then continuity in culture. Right? So what are the sources? The sources generally I follow, which are quite standard sources. I am happy that one of the sources is a question in this year, anthropology. Contribution to archaeology. So the sources we follow are the Upendra Singh textbook and also V.N. Mishra. Okay, both are very distinguished historians and archaeologists. So what is the importance of archaeology? If you see, archaeology has very limited syllabus, right? And increasing number of questions, as I was saying, and high potential of scoring. Okay, so if you have your own notes for archaeology, you can revise it in 2 or 3 days. The complete archaeology can be revised in 2 or 3 days, and you can reproduce with high amount of certainty in the main exam, and the potential of scoring is high because you will be writing to the point. If someone is asking you what is Paleolithic culture, if you know what is it about, and if you go and reproduce what is a Paleolithic culture, then where can the examiner reduce the marks? The same may not be possible even if you read 10 definitions of marriage, you're still confused. What did Kathleen Gow say about marriage? Okay, suddenly it doesn't strike in the exam hall, right? It does happen. So what did Kathleen Gow say? Okay, what did Murdoch say about family? Is family universal? So these are all, of course, very important topics. But archaeology is a straightforward question. They are going to ask you what is a Paleolithic culture, what is Mesolithic art. So you need not try to innovate anything there. What you read, you go and reproduce. Okay, so that's one big advantage with archaeology. So my request to everyone is not to skip any part of the archaeology. Okay, there may be certain gray areas. Okay, many of them have prepared archaeology very well this year and still they could not answer Natufian culture. Okay, because it was not expected question at all. So such questions are bounces for everyone. We need not worry that actually what happened is because of that question, the entire paper 1 is being deemed as very tough this year. So such questions are tough for everyone. We need not worry. but we should not leave anything in archaeology, right? So this is the answer writing pattern, which is best described and suggested by various people who have scored very well in archaeology. Okay, they have scored very well in archaeology by maintaining this answer writing pattern. So you can note down this pattern for any question in archaeology. This is the pattern to be followed. Okay, what is the basic definition? What is the geographical timeline? What is the climatic period? Tool technology, tool materials, culture, important sites. So whenever you are writing important sites, try to draw a map. Okay, you should be able to quickly reproduce India map in just say around 15-20 seconds. Practice it more. It need not be to the scale. It need not be perfect. If Gujarat is bending a little bit, no one is going to punish you. Okay, but practice India map multiple number of times. And then what is the significance of that culture, and if there is any continuity of that culture. While reading various phases of archaeology also, we will try to fit our study based on this breakup only, so that it will be really helpful for you while revising and also while approaching the exam. Clear? You can just, whenever you have any issue, just you can stop me there and ask. Feel comfortable.
So, like we have talked about some ages. So for every age, we will have a
Exactly.
set
Right.
answer.
Right. So for example, if you're taking a Neolithic age, so you should try to fit the entire Neolithic age in this framework only. So once you are used to this framework, so this will cover your 20 marker question, say. So if you have been asked for about a Neolithic site for 10 marks, you just pick up one point from this and write. If it's a 20 marker question, you expand it. Got it? Then what are you're trying to make your preparation easy. You have content for Neolithic, say Natufian culture. Natufian culture is around 12,000, 15,000 years old. Okay, so if you would know that it is 15,000 year old, you come to know that it is lower Paleolithic to Mesolithic age, and then accordingly pick up points from both the cultures and write. So any site, if it's a Paleolithic site, Mesolithic site, or a Neolithic site, will have always the common features. That's why they are classified into various phases, right? In India, if you take the example of a site called Bhimbetka, okay, it's in the modern day Madhya Pradesh. If you take its example, it's a Paleolithic as well as Mesolithic site. So tomorrow there may be a 10 marker question saying that Bhimbetka. Simple. They'll just give Bhimbetka site, Bhimbetka cave. So if you know that Bhimbetka is a Paleolithic and Mesolithic site, and you don't know anything about Bhimbetka, you can still write that it belongs. There were art inside the Bhimbetka caves. There were some Paleolithic tools, Mesolithic tools which were found. Draw some Mesolithic tools, and then say that there was a very raw form of domestication happening. So if you write this, and if you go and see the actual culture in Bhimbetka, you're still same. You're meaning the same. So our attempt is to try and fix all the cultures, all the ages into this broad framework. Okay, so that we have that ready-made notes, and it makes our lives much more easier, right? Right. So far, any doubts?
Right? Fine.
Fine. So even for Harappan culture also, Harappan culture, unfortunately, it was not asked this year. It was asked in the name of Aryan debate in paper 2. Okay, but Harappan culture is the most easiest culture, and also the most famous and sought out topic of UPSC. The advantage with archaeology is, especially Neolithic and Harappan culture, you will cover some aspects of GS1 also. In GS1 also, you might have seen that there are many instances where Harappan culture is asked, right? What about Harappan urban planning, Harappan
Comparing it with,
right, Harappan trade? They compare Harappan with Mesopotamian culture. Are the temples there? Temples not there? So it may look complicated, but when you integrate all the topics, it is quite simple, right? So let's get into the discussion straight away. So what is archaeology? Okay, so whenever there is an archaeology question, you just start with the basic definition. Archaeology is study of human past using material remains. Okay, no need of any grand definitions like what you do for marriage or family. Okay, what Murdoch said, what Kathleen Gow said. So archaeology is study of human past using material remains, right? So now the basic confusion for many of us lies as to what is archaeology, how is it different from history, right? So history is something which is written. Anything which is written only classifies as history. So if you see the history, we are in the 21st century and we have writings of Harappan age, right? So Harappan age is around 2500 plus say the year 2000. So his history is hardly 5000 years old. So you cannot call anything beyond written. Today we know something about Akbar, Babur only because it is written. In fact, we know about Ashoka because it is written, right? So history is something which is written. But archaeology expands much beyond history. We understand the archaeological aspects of man, right? The first one is inscriptions. What are inscriptions? What are inscriptions?
Something that's written on stone or
Anyone?
engravings on stone or wall of some form.
Right. So engravings on. Am I audible?
Yeah, there is a.
you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm breaking up, huh?
Yes.
1 second. Right. Let's just get into this. Is it fine now?
Yeah, I think it is better.
Is it fine now? Fine. Just let me know if there is any internet interruption and all, so that I'll just adjust accordingly. Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Fine. Okay. So, what are the various archaeological sources? The first one is inscriptions. What are inscriptions? Anyone?
Engravings on stones or walls.
Inscriptions are nothing but engravings. We have stone inscriptions, we have inscriptions on palm leaves and all, right? So we study those inscriptions, okay, epigraphy, okay? We study those inscriptions and then try to understand the way of life, the culture during that period.
Sir,
Right?
you're breaking up again.
It's again breaking up. Can you just give me 1 minute? Just give me 1 minute. Is it okay now? Audible?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So, the first thing to study archaeology is inscriptions. Study of inscriptions is called epigraphy. Okay. So through inscriptions, we try to understand what happened during that age, how people lived. Okay. And then on what basis the society was functioning. So that is your study of inscriptions. One famous example of inscriptions is your Ashokan inscriptions, right? We come to know so much about Mauryan age, Ashoka's policies and everything through inscriptions, right? So the second thing is coins. Okay, coins are another sources of archaeology where we try to understand the various aspects of the society during that age by looking at the coins. For example, we see that the coins have evolved from 6th century BC, like copper coins, then silver coins, then copper coins, then gold coins. So that shows how society progressed. In fact, there was one question last before year in UPSC about the Gupta coins and how the reducing gold coins in Gupta age was reflection of the society, right? So that is one source of archaeology. Then next is your literature. We have a lot of literature, right? We have the Vedas, we have Smritis, we have Puranas, we have epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana. We have various writings in the medieval age through visitors, through foreigners. So there we try to understand the society, right? And the last one is the other material remains. What are the other material remains? Like what is the pottery? What are the tools? What are the materials used in the tools? What are the materials used in the tools? Okay. And then other material remains means including the human skull, human bone, fossils as we call it. In physical anthropology, you have a unit 1.6 quaternary fossils. Okay, how the Homo sapien has evolved. Okay, based on the fossils, we try to reconstruct the age of the particular fossil and try to assign them to a particular age. Is he Homo sapien? Is he a Neanderthal man? Okay, right? Shall we move on? So archaeology, as we all know, it's mostly about excavation. So when we excavate a site, right, we come to know about the material remains and those material remains are studied. So what are the types of excavation we have? One is a vertical excavation, one is a horizontal excavation. So can anyone explain what does vertical and horizontal actually stand or differentiate? What do you mean by vertical excavation?
Probably digging,
Sorry?
into the soil.
And then what is the difference between vertical and horizontal excavation?
So in horizontal excavation, we go through layers. So like, I think in this, there is a presence of layer.
Okay, what about vertical? There are no layers in vertical.
Sir, vertical one, tell us about the time period of the age of the period, while horizontal tells us about the artifacts that are found within that period.
So in vertical, you don't find any artifacts.
So you find, but that tells you how it progressed. But in the horizontal, you
Which one is more informative?
horizontal. because we get to understand that if at this place we have found this, what should have been the other artifacts in at the same level at
Okay,
another place.
fine. So, okay, you're all almost correct. So what is vertical excavation is you have a site, right? You have a site and you go vertically. You go vertically, continuously digging, digging, digging. Okay. And then horizontal is in one particular layer, you try to expand. You try to expand as much as possible. So there are advantages and disadvantages in both. Okay, in vertical excavation, in a given site, you can understand various years of life, right? What happened 100 years back to what happened, say, 10,000 years back. You can continuously go on vertically digging that site and try to get maximum information, right? But the problem is you do not know how much that site is expanded, right? You know various cultures which have been there in that site, but what is the expanse of that culture, where all that had there, is it a site of common man, is it a site of king, was there any fort, are you able to get me? But similarly, now you take the example of horizontal excavation. In horizontal excavations, if you take a site called Raki Gari, okay, it is in modern day Haryana. So if you keep on expanding that particular Raki Gari, you will come to know that entire Raki Gari was part of Harappan culture. And then you will find various seals, okay, which part of the land belonged to the so-called ruling class and which part of the land belonged to common man, what is the culture of common man, what is the culture of king. If you expand the site more horizontally, you will, for a given particular phase, if you're talking about Harappan period, you can get to know more and more about Harappan lifestyle, right? Understood? But the drawback of horizontal excavation is you can know only about one phase at one point of time. If you go 10 meters deep, say after 10 meters you come to know about some Akbar time. If you go 100-meter deep, then you come to know about Harappan time. So when you go more vertical, you come to know about more number of ages. If you go more horizontal, for a given age, you will come to know more about that culture. Understood? Yes?
Yes.
So ideally, it should be a combination of both, right? But the problem is in India, okay, we we are forced towards more vertical excavation because horizontal excavation is more costly. Why it will be costly? Because you have to acquire more land, right?
Right.
So see, anything will not come for free. Even if you have to take land for archaeology, you have to take some farmer's land and then start digging it. So if you are having 1 acre of land, in 1 acre of land you can go to 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. That is your land. But if you want to expand the horizontal excavation, you should get more and more land, which is difficult. So that is one of the bottlenecks in identifying more archaeological resources in India. Got it?
But won't we do what only at the places wherever we do not have any establishment? Kind
No,
of.
not like that. See, most of the archaeological findings have been accidental by nature, right? You must have listened to some stories where a farmer, while farming his farm, suddenly encounters some, skull bones or something of that sort. And then, archaeologists go and try to excavate that site. Okay. So, but if something is found in that particular farm, So the immediate question is ki what is in the surrounding, right? The moment you talk about surrounding, that means you are trying to speak about a situation where you want more land to excavate, which is not so easy. Got
Okay,
it?
once we find something, we get to understand the other parts by taking up more lens.
Right. Ideally, it should happen. But then, sometimes we hit the dead end because we cannot acquire more land. For a particular culture, we understand only what is there in that particular mold. We call it as a mold. In archaeology, we call it as mold. One mold is one area which is under research. Right? Fine. So these are the scientific techniques which are used in archaeology. So these are important, being asked very regularly in the examination. Okay, quite frequently. In last 10 years, at least 5 or 6 times these methods have been used or asked. Very simple, very easy. Okay. So the scientific techniques which are used in archaeology are direct method, which are absolute methods, and indirect methods. Okay, which is relative dating methods. You can straight away have a question saying that what are the different dating methods? Explain couple of dating methods for a 15 marker. Okay, such questions you should never miss. Because if you write all the points, the examiner can hardly reduce any marks there. Okay, so there are broadly two types of scientific techniques. One is the relative methods and another is the absolute method. Okay, in relative methods we have these three broad methods called stratigraphy, fluorine dating, and pollen grain method. In absolute methods we have carbon 14 dating method and dendrochronology. Okay, so what are the differences between relative and absolute? So you can note down relative dating methods. Dating is done with comparison from some other material. This method does not give direct date of an artifact. That's why they are called relative, right? These techniques are not helpful in determining the age of fossils in prehistoric period. Absolute dating methods. They give,
Can you narrate slowly?
okay, sorry. I'm still in the mains mode. So in mains, this is still a very slow. Fine. So you have done with
The
relative.
last line, the technique,
These
this technique.
techniques are not so helpful in determining
Hmm.
the fossils of prehistoric age. Okay, prehistoric means some 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 years back. If the fossils are there, with relative dating, you cannot exactly make sure or come at any age of them. Fine. Now the absolute dating methods, no need of any other material, no need of any other material for comparison. they give the age of fossil. This method gives the age of fossil with good certainty. With good certainty. These techniques can be used to identify the age of prehistoric fossils. Right? So first we'll go method by method. All the 6 methods are very important, mind you. They can either come as a bigger question or straight away they can ask you carbon 14 dating method for 10 marks. Okay, even if they are asking you any of these methods, first give a brief introduction as we just spoke. Just give a brief introduction about that particular. It falls in relative category. These are the points of relative method, and among the relative method, so first we'll start with stratigraphy. First is stratigraphy. So what is stratigraphy? What do you understand by stratigraphy? Stratigraphy means strata, stratification. Done in Indian social anthropology, stratification is done. So what is an example of stratification? Caste. So what do you mean by stratigraphy? Something divided. Okay, so you'll understand it better here. You're understanding it. So if you see the bottommost layer, it is saying Iron Age. Okay, then it is saying Medieval Age, Roman Road. Okay, stratigraphy means layer by layer. Okay, stratigraphy means different layers provide information. Different layers provide information about different periods of time. We'll try to understand that vertical and horizontal here. Simple, very simple. So my cursor is visible to you? No. Right? Fine. So if you come down vertically, you're able to see from modern age to Iron Age, right? But say if I am only digging here, I am only coming straight. But to improve my resource collection or the sample collections, if I do horizontally, I am covering within that particular layer more number of collections. Got it? So if you come down, this is called vertical excavation in this particular medieval wall, medieval pit. So if you go horizontally, you are trying to understand various aspects of this medieval age, right? So that is the difference between vertical and horizontal excavations. So similarly, a stratigraphy is about coming layer by layer. The top layer is your modern age. So when you dig further, you come across the medieval pit, then you come down, you go to the ancient age, and then you go to the Iron Age, then Paleolithic tools, Mesolithic tools, and so on, so forth. So this is stratigraphy. What it says is different layers of rocks provide different information about various periods. Okay. So what is the advantage? Advantage of stratigraphy. This technology is helpful. This technology is helpful to date an archaeological site which has evolved over a period of time, right? So if you take the example in this figure only, this site has evolved over a period of time, right? Right from Iron Age to modern topsoil, there are various things underneath the soil. If you go layer by layer, you will come to know that this particular modern soil underneath has various cultures inside it. Understood? So this is the advantage. Then what is the drawback? Anyone, what may be the drawback of this particular stratigraphy method? Any
Expensive
drawback?
again. You told expensive.
One
A
thing
moment
may be
ago you said
expensive. Yeah,
expensive.
right. Expensive. One more thing.
The layers might mix.
Perfect. The layers might mix or the layers might erode. Say if the river course is changing and coming onto this layer, the sample will be distorted. Yes or no? The famous is the Indus Valley civilization. The river courses changed in Indus Valley civilization. That is one of the theories for its extinction. So if this layer was part of a alluvial soil or acidic soil, some remains may be not visible, or there might be a tectonic shift which might make the remains not present in that particular soil. Right? Preeti, you're following?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. Fine. We'll next go to other method, which is fluorine dating. Fluorine dating. It is also a relative method. Again, relative method, you need to give a standard introduction of what is a relative method. Okay. So all these relative methods cannot exactly tell you the period of time. By looking at a fossil, you have to compare it with the fossil underground, saying that compared to that, this may be some 50 years younger or 50 years older. You cannot take a particular fossil and say, yes, this belongs to Harappan age. No, you cannot say that with relative dating. Understood? So fluorine dating. So fluorine is generally present in water. Okay? Fluorine is generally present in water. Whenever animals or humans die, whenever animals or humans die, fluorine is deposited in teeth and bone. Fluorine is deposited in teeth and bone. By comparing two different artifacts, approximate age can be determined, right? So throughout relative dating, we are only saying approximate age. Okay, be careful. So what is the advantage of fluorine dating? It is helpful. Please note down, it is helpful when we find multiple fossils at same place. Multiple fossils at same place. Limitations. The fluorine deposits vary from culture to culture. So it becomes very difficult. The same is the case with pollen grain method. So pollen grain method,
Can you explain the advantages for fluorine dating? You said find multiple fossil at one place, same place.
yeah. So if you know, for example, the age of one fossil, then if you know, say if you're having 100 bones, okay, 100 bones in a particular site, and if you see the fluorine deposits of all those bones are almost same, then you can conclude that all these bones belong to one particular period,
Hmm.
right? If the fluorine levels are varying, that means it must be an old fossil compared to this fossil.
How will it vary?
It varies, right? The fluorine deposition in bones and teeth varies with regard to the time and culture,
Okay.
right? It varies with regard to the time and culture. Okay,
Right.
right. Next is the pollen grains. Pollen grains also a similar concept, like with the age being more and more, they get more and more wear and tear, right? Is the screen stuck? You're able to see me?
Right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The screen got stuck. Are you able to see me?
Yeah.
You are visible, sir, but the slides are not visible.
The slides are not visible. Am I visible? Hello?
Not visible, sir.
Right. I'm able to see you all. So pollen grain technique is also something similar to your stratigraphy. So what are pollen grains? Pollen grains are there in your flowers, fruits, right? So their storage, their continuity also describes a particular culture, right? So next are absolute dating techniques. Next is absolute dating techniques.
So for pollen grain, we will have to write same statement.
Yeah, same. See, pollen grain is the technique which I have told. So in pollen grain technique is also the disadvantage is in acidic soils. Okay, in acidic soils, the pollen grains are not generally stored. Okay, you can write that. The advantage is they sustain over a long period of time. Okay, but the disadvantage is in acidic soils, the pollen grains do not get stored. Right?
So in acidic soil, it is not found.
Not found. It may be degraded. If you take a bone, human bone, and keep it in acidic soil, That is a major drawback in entire India because Indian soils are very acidic. Our archaeological artifacts are very damaged condition when they are found by the archaeologists. You can write that as a common point for all the methods. You can say that Indian soils are very acidic and the artifacts found in India are not in good condition, are not in proper shape. Okay, fine. Let's move on to absolute carbon dating, absolute methods. The first one is carbon 14 dating method. Very popular, you must have heard it, right? Carbon dating method. What is carbon dating method? Carbon is the one which has half-life, right? What is the half-life of carbon? The half-life of carbon is 5730 years. Just write it down. That means if you have 100 kgs of carbon, it becomes 50 kgs in 5730 years. And then it becomes 25 kgs in 10,000 odd years. From there it becomes 5,000, 2,500, like that. That is the half-life. So based on this half-life, we can exactly know, based on the carbon content, the exact age of that particular fossil or not. Yes or no?
Yes.
If today we have 100 kgs of carbon in a particular fossil, say if there is 1 kg carbon in a fossil which are found in an excavation, based on the back calculation, we can know how many years old that fossil is. So that is one major advantage with carbon 14 dating method. So you can write something about this. Every living being, every living being has carbon inside their body. On death of an organism, the carbon 14, the C14, is converted into nitrogen, changing the ratio of carbon content. The half-life of carbon is 5730 years. By comparing the ratio of carbon, dating can be done, right? You just write down these notes and revise, and it's my guarantee, out of 10, 9 to 8 questions you can easily attempt in archaeology. Okay, so these are my personal notes which I revised a number of times. I'm directly quoting it from my notes, right? So what are the advantages of carbon 14 method? So we can know the age of fossils. Up to 50 to 60,000 years old with very accurate means. Up to 50 to 60,000. Okay. Drawbacks. radioactivity in the Earth's surface can change the carbon content. Did you understand the limitation? Radioactivity, you mean to say that inside the Earth core, mantle, okay, in the geography you must have learned. If there is some radioactivity happening in there, so this carbon 14 will be disturbed in that particular fossil, right? So based on that, you may not have the exact carbon content, so your life or your way of determining it may be disturbed. Okay. Then dendrochronology. Dendrochronology, I'll show you that figure and you'll easily understand it. This is dendrochronology. Understood? Are you able to get something from it? Did you ever see the bark, the cut wood? When the tree is cut, this is how you see it, right? From the top, these are circles. So this method is called dendrochronology. So you can write something about it. Every tree during seasonal rainfall adds a ring to their trunk. By measuring the rings, we can measure the age. Right? See, these methods are not only for human beings. These are useful in understanding the flora and fauna also. For example, pollen grains. It is more useful in identifying the kind of plants. Okay. And now, the advantage with dendrochronology, the past climates like wetness and dryness can be observed. If you see the figure on the left, no? So there is one continuity is missing in one particular area. Okay, so they are saying that area is a mega drought. So we are saying that every seasonal rainfall it is going to record a ring. So in one particular season, if it doesn't record a ring or if there is a gap, that means at that particular time there was a drought. Right? Even in the right side you can see it. First year growth, rainy season. The third one is a dry season. Wherever there is a dry season, you're seeing more gap between the rings. Right? You're able to observe it. My screen is visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the limitation? The drawback? Applicable only to wooden objects. And also to areas where rainfall is seasonal. Seen more frequently. The rings are seen more frequently in trees of temperate zone. In trees of temperate zone and not tropical zone. Okay. So only in temperate zone trees you can find these rings very clearly. Okay. In tropical zone trees, such clear demarcation is not visible. That's what the archaeologists say. Understood? So very important topic. Any doubt with regard to these techniques, direct and absolute, or direct and absolute and indirect and relative techniques?
Can we not do carbon dating on dendrochronology?
Yeah, sorry, can we?
Can we also do carbon dating on trees?
See, trees, we said all the living species, right? So yeah, trees do have the carbon content, but then yeah, we can do carbon dating on trees also. We can do carbon dating on trees also. So the next thing is archaeometry. Okay, what is archaeometry? So I'm just trying to expand certain topics because the paper is becoming very uncertain these days. Okay, in the broad heading, previously anthropology, what many used to feel, they used to be set of 250-300 questions. वो पढ़ के लिखो हो गया. Okay, that was anthropology 2-3 years back. From last year, anthropology is different. The preparation also should be different. Focus more on quality and not on quantity. Okay. So in that context, Venkat Mohan sir books are there. Couple of books, cultural anthropology, okay, anthropological thought. There are some questions which is not addressed in any material, but they're in Mohan sir's book. For example, this year there was a book, there was a question on Victor Turner. Anthropological thought is over.
Yes, it is.
Understood?
There is a test on 31st, by the way.
Any thought on the thought?
Thought on the thought is that it's so much thoughtful that we do not know what to think.
No. See, actually, it's a very common thing. When you read thought the first time, believe me. But the moment you understand the thought, okay, you all purchased that book, Venkat Mohan sir's book, Anthro Thought, the green color book wala. Okay, read it minimum to minimum. It's only 200 pages book, right? 200-250 pages hai. Not even, and it's not like in one page you are having 200-300 words, not like that. It is very comfortable to read also. You read it for 2 or 3 times. Okay, you just read it for 2 or 3 times and see the difference. And then you read what is marriage, you read what is family, you'll get the grip of complete social anthropology on your fingertips. If you're strong in thought, okay, if you're strong in thought, the entire paper one is done, except for physical anthropology. Entire paper one is done. You need not even read what is marriage, what is religion, what is family, nothing. Your thought, if you're strong, you can play like anything with the paper one. So don't neglect thought. It will turn you off. Definitely it will turn you off, because when you're seeing what is this Victor Turner symbolism, interpretative theory, what is that evolution, what is this diffusion, this fellow comes with historical particularism, and then Marvin Harris comes with cultural materialism, and then Franz Boas cultural relativism. So many terminologies, and you feel really, it's so painful. यार ये नहीं होगा मेरे से. Important question पढ़ लेंगे इसमें. ठीक है? It doesn't happen like that. Now anthropology has changed, and I feel it's changed for good, because it's no more that 2 months, 3 months, because you people have started well before, right? You're giving next year mains and now you've started 1 year before. So you should enjoy some edge with regard to the optional. It's not that someone after prelims, okay, I'll start my optional after prelims. June 27th is a prelims, I'll start it in July, August, I'll read and score 280 in optional. Is it a fair game? No. So now, unless you are prepared, it's not only with regard to anthropology, that shift is seen in all the optionals where the conceptual clarity is being focused. Okay, so don't neglect any part of the anthropology.
But,
Like 1 minute. So you say that anthropology is a holistic study of human science and all. So even your preparation towards anthropology should be holistic, right? Yeah, tell me.
did you prepare answers for Anthrothought or whatever
Yes, yes,
parts?
yes.
All the
I had my, see, for Anthrothought, only book I followed is Venkat Mohan sir's Anthrothought. And
no,
believe
but did you prepare answers for them? All the questions.
that book is itself in question answer format, right? For each thinker, it's only 2 or 3 pages.
Hmm,
Yes or no?
right.
Did you see any thinker going beyond 4 or 5 pages in that book? No, except for L.H. Morgan and all.
So
You need not
whatever.
remember. Sorry, yeah.
So whatever previous questions were there, you prepared answers for all of them.
See, I previous questions approach in this attempt I have not taken. I have taken. I was I was ready for all the topics. I have not skipped even one topic, including genetic markers. Okay, so that's what. I felt that the last year anthropology paper was changing. It is no more than 200, 300 questions, which you can prepare and go and just, no, not like that. Now it's a combination of topics. If you see these questions this year, there is a combination of topic from physical anthropology and social anthropology. So unless you know both the topics, you cannot write that answer. And it's not that tough. Believe me, if you read the entire syllabus, it's really really wonderful. Okay, fine. Let's come back. So what is archaeometry? Archaeometry is a range of scientific techniques and analysis okay, involving the use of measurements to analyze ancient objects and materials. Okay. You'll appreciate it when I explain you this example. Okay. Just written it in one line, so I'll just try to describe it. So there are chalcolithic sites. What are chalcolithic sites? Chalco means copper. Okay. Lithic means stone. So copper and stone sites where people have found that the nitrogen content in the soil outside the homes is more compared to the nitrogen content in the soil inside the homes. Okay. That time homes are also muddy homes only, not the tiles or granites which we use today. So whatever soil was outside, the same soil was inside. But the nitrogen content of the soil outside was more compared to nitrogen's content of the soil inside. Why? What was the reason? Tell me. So here your anthropometry gives a scientific analysis in explaining this particular phenomenon in chalcolithic sites. Vishal, what is the reason for nitrogen in the courtyard being more compared to inside the house?
Probably they were cooking and eating food outside
Okay, if they eat food outside, how the nitrogen level will increase?
because of burning wood or maybe animal remains.
You're very close. So animal remains, yeah.
The nitrogen fixing bacteria, they fix nitrogen. So more trees, plants should have been there outside courtyard. Yeah.
Okay. What are the animal droppings? Animal droppings? Animal droppings have urea, right? Your urea is nitrogen. So that means if you're having buffaloes and cows in your courtyard, okay, that means that particular area must have been had lot of animal droppings, and that's why the nitrogen content is more compared to your houses. So that means it shows that you are domesticating those animals. Yes or no? So this is how we use scientific logic to arrive at one particular culture. Understood this particular example? You can quote this as a case study also. This can be a dating technique also. Okay. Next, paleontology. Paleontology. After all our sessions, five sessions or 6 sessions, whatever it will be, 1 hour session or 1.5 hour session. After all you are done, 1 week, 10 days time will take, and we'll have a doubt session. Okay. Exclusive doubt session on archaeology. Fine. So that you'll have time to revise it. Okay. I know the prelims notification is going to come next week and all. So there is some pressure to start prelims. This is first prelims, right? You have written previous prelims, Shweta, yes? Okay.
Yes, sir.
2019 you have given?
Yes, sir. With my graduation. It was like just after the college.
Okay. Paleontology. Okay. Of dead over enormous span of time. When we discuss the doubt session, we'll try to discuss something about prelims also. Okay. I've cleared almost all the prelims I've written. So maybe I can be of some help to you. In that doubt session, we'll talk about prelims, how to approach prelims and all. So that will be maybe if we plan around February mid or February end, so that by the time you'll also have some idea. So paleontology is study of remains of dead over enormous span of time. So paleontology studies two aspects of the dead. One is the biological aspect, one is the cultural aspect. So biological aspect is bones, teeth patterns, DNAs, okay, which we also refer to as physical evolution, right? Darwin theory of evolution done. Darwin theory of evolution is done.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Rajshekhar sir.
Yes, done.
Again for physical anthropology, believe me, the notes of Rajshekhar sir is more than enough for the entire physical anthropology. Wonderful and beautiful notes sir gives. Don't go to various textbooks like Peanut, that this book, and don't waste the time. Happily sir gives you the slides, and then a lot of content is there in those slides. Revise them multiple times and you're done. Fine. And then what are the cultural aspects? So the artifacts, pottery remains. So this is paleontology. So how do you know about different, how do you know about someone by knowing the teeth patterns? Yes, anyone? Based on the teeth pattern, what can I tell about that particular stage of evolution?
So the food habits.
Did you go till quaternary fossils? 1.6 unit is done?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. So what happens is, if you see chimpanzees or gorillas, okay, the canine teeth, everyone has the canine teeth, right? The canine teeth of those animals are very sharp and very projected, but our canine teeth are different. Okay, based on the teeth patterns, you can say what kind of food habits that particular stage of evolution had. Whether they were more carnivorous, whether they were more herbivorous, and in between teeth, you have some deposits, right? When those deposits are studied, okay, you can know what kind of food habits they had. Yes or no? Similarly, bones. The bones of a gorilla, the spinal cord pattern of a chimpanzee is different from the spinal cord pattern of a human being, because human being is erect in posture, right? He stands upright, but the chimpanzee is in this position. It cannot stand straight. So the spinal cord pattern is different. The DNA is a bit different. And then comes the cultural remains. What are the cultural remains? Pottery, tools. If someone is using very heavy stone tool, that means they are not that advanced. If someone is using a very microlith, this size of a stone tool, that means they are using it for precision cutting, right? You saw the watch mechanic using small tools, right? At the same time, a construction worker will use a similar tool of bigger size. The hammer a watch mechanic uses is different from a hammer someone in construction site uses. Yes or no? So, if you see the Paleolithic age, the stone tools are very huge in size. But with the evolution, the size of the tools became smaller and smaller and sharper. Sharper tools. So that if you cut it, it gets cut in the first go. So this is nothing but paleontology. Paleontology is an interdisciplinary science. It involves biology, social sciences, and ethnoarchaeology. Yes, you can see studying of teeth patterns, DNA, this is all biology. Studying cultural remains is your social sciences, and continuity is your ethnoarchaeology. And there is a new field in archaeology which is coming up, which is called cognitive archaeology. Cognitive means immediately you are able to remember cognitive theories. Stephenson, Conklin, cognitive theories. Okay, fine. So it deals with the ways of thinking, beliefs, and religion. So cognitive means something related to mind, right? That's the basic thing. Cognitive means something related to mind. So archaeology, which thinks about various beliefs, religion, and practices, is called cognitive archaeology. So there is something called prehistory. Okay, prehistory, that's what you were saying, right?
So can you go back to the slide, previous slide? Okay.
So that's what we were discussing just in the starting of the class. It's called prehistory. What is prehistory? Wherever there is no written records. Okay, wherever there are no written records, they are called prehistory. Okay, broadly, prehistory means the Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, and the Neolithic age. Okay, during Harappa, we have some kind of writings in seals. The problem with Harappan culture is the script of Harappan culture is not yet deciphered. Yes, so that we call it as proto-history. From Neolithic age, Chalcolithic and Iron Age. Okay, 1 second. Just let me edit this. This doesn't come under. There is some other classification for this. It's called proto-history. Yeah, up to here it's prehistory. Fine. Up to here it's prehistory. Okay, we'll discuss each and every phase in a very detailed way. Don't worry. I'll try to make it much easier because we have the framework, right? Just go back and try to understand the framework. Now all these phases will fit into that framework. Okay, so that it will be a 1 page, 1.5 page notes for you, and we'll discuss various sites across India, across the world also. Okay, some cultures like the Natufian culture and all. The only request is whenever you see articles in the newspaper, okay, in Hindu especially, you will be seeing ancient archaeological site has been excavated, etc., right? Yes or no? So whenever you see those current affairs, just write that site name across the particular age. When you are writing an answer and if you are quoting the current site, it will just make beautiful impression on the examiner. There are some Paleolithic sites in Karimnagar of Telangana, in Karnataka. There are some excavations going on the sites. So if you mention those sites in your answers, it enriches your answer. It will give you that extra edge. Okay, you follow the current affairs. You will try to prove to the examiner that, boss, see, I know that anthropology and archaeology are not static, they are dynamic, right? So last topic is for the day is ethnoarchaeology. Very important. This time straight away 15-mark question came. Simply the question is very straightforward. What is ethnoarchaeology? That's the reason I am saying you again and again, don't miss archaeology. Okay. So what is ethnoarchaeology? A simple definition, study of living communities to interpret the archaeological evidences of past. If you can just try to associate it with your thought, which school of thought is this? Studying the present culture with regard to the past.
Classical evolution.
Classical evolutionism. Who are the three major thinkers?
Taylor, Morgan, and Fraser.
Taylor, Morgan, and
Fraser.
Fraser. Okay, very good. So that's how you try to integrate the topics. You're able to understand. So this much anyone can write. If you say ethnoarchaeology is depending or is derived from the classical evolutionism, your point straight away strikes to the examiner. अरे क्या लिख दिया बंदे ने? मतलब you just be in the shoes of examiner. This content you will write. You, not only you, anyone who has studied ethnoarchaeology will write this content. But if you say ethnoarchaeology is depending on classical school of evolutionism, that means you have gone one step ahead and tried to relate this with your thought. Does it make any difference or not? You tell me. If you were the examiner, we have seen 10 answers, and in the 10th answer, you find this striking statement. So that's why I keep saying you be good at thought. Okay, fine. So studying of living communities to interpret the archaeological evidences of the past. Okay, then how do we interpret the past communities? Through the present practices, right? Through the present practices, through the present customs, and through the present technology. Right? What is the technology we are speaking about? Tool making technology, pottery. Okay. So, what is the use of ethnoarchaeology? It can fill the silence and gaps in the history. It can fill the silence and gaps in the history. So if you take the present day hunter-gatherer society, okay, Birhor is the one case study which Mohan sir must have told you. Okay, so Birhor are hunter-gatherer societies. So by studying them, you can actually understand the old hunter-gatherer societies in India. You can understand their social structure. You can understand their social organization. You can understand what kind of role women play in hunter-gatherer. Hunting is done by men, gathering is done by women. Yes? What do you mean by gathering? Hunting karne ke baad, if you see that the gathering part is the most laborious part. You have to gather the meat, right? Yes or no? So what is the role of women? Is there any hierarchy? Is it an egalitarian society or is it a stratified society? All these can be interpreted by using ethnoarchaeology. Yes or no? So the next is the important issue is like the same thing which you are saying with evolutionism. You should use ethnoarchaeology with utmost caution. Yes or no? You should use ethnoarchaeology with utmost caution because if you see Harappan sites, there is evidence of fire altars. Fire altars means where you do these yagnas, right? Where do you this? क्या बोलते हैं उसको हिंदी में? What do you say?
Agni Kund.
Kund, yeah. In Telugu we call it homam. Sunil, you understand Telugu?
No.
Homam को क्या बोलते हैं? What do you call homam in Telugu?
Sir, I am not Telugu.
Vishal?
I am from Telugu, but I'm not able to recall. Agnikundam.
We offer that in that fire na yaar. What is that?
Havan Kund.
Exactly, Havan. So you found some resemblance of Havan in Harappan culture also. Okay, but similar Havans we are doing today also, 4,000 years later. But we have to use it with utmost caution. What purpose was Havan for Harappa may not be the same purpose for us. Yes or no? Because during Harappan time the gods were different. There were no gods, they were natural worshippers. Today we do Havans for gods. We do it for Ganesh, we do it for Shiva. But Harappans, the finding of Havans or fire altars is same. But the purpose might be different. So you cannot generalize. So you should write in limitations of archaeology. We cannot generalize the cultures based on the evidences. Number one. Number two, first one thing is we cannot generalize the cultures based on the evidences. Number two, the findings should be used with utmost caution. Got it? So you write this. Okay. Now, in anthropology, you need to give a lot of examples. Okay. If you have to substantiate and if you have to communicate with the examiner that look boss, I know this concept, then you have to write an example or the case study, whatever you call it. It's an example. When you write an example, obviously the opposite person will come to know that you understand the concept. So this one particular case study, I have taken it from Upendra Singh. Okay, no other material has this case study. In fact, I have written this case study in this year answer. So it stands out. It's a case study of carnelian beads of Kambat region in Gujarat. During Harappan times, did you read about carnelian beads?
Carnelian and Lapus, what is?
Right?
Yeah.
As part of GS1, did you read Harappa? Lapus
I
lazuli
read
is
the
a precious
chapters.
stone. Yeah, lapis lazuli is a precious stone. It was that stone was brought from Afghanistan area, right? Carnelian beads are made in Harappan sites. They were used as ornaments. So you can see here, these are the carnelian beads. You see here, there is a necklace kind of bead, right? Even today in Kambat area of Gujarat, these kind of necklaces are made. So ethnoarchaeology, it studies the living communities to interpret the archaeological evidences of the past. So this may be the case where we can say that Harappan culture continued. It did not vanish overnight as we all think. Yes or no? Because a practice or a technology which was known to us 2500 plus 2000, 4000 years back is still prevalent in today's Gujarat. And Gujarat has a lot of Harappan sites, Dholavira, Lothal. Yes. So we can say that carnelian beads is a study of ethnoarchaeology. Understand? Based on the workers who perform the skill and trying to understand their social organization, we can try to understand something about Harappan culture. These are the options left with us because we don't know who is Harappa, who is the Harappan king, who are they. We only try to speculate based on the evidences we keep finding. Unfortunately, we don't know much about them because we could not develop script. It's not handwritten like Ashokan scripts. It's a pictorial script. Okay, and also there are cases where you have seen pottery continuity. Even today we make pots on wheel only. The practice was prevalent from the time of Harappa. Similar concept, now see the beauty. This concept, there was one more 20 marker question asking what is the continuity of Harappa? I think 2017 or 18. What is the continuation of Harappan culture in present day India? What all we discussed is applicable to that answer also? Yes or no? This carnelian beads case study can be used in that answer also, right? The case study of fire altars can be used in that answer also. That Venkat Mohan sir must have taught you using one or two case studies across various answers.
This question was in GS or anthropology?
Anthropology, 20 marker. You are all stuck. It's okay now?
It's better, sir.
1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah, is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Can someone just wave their hand so that I can? No luck. Yeah. Can someone wave their hand? Sunil? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So this case study of carnelian beads and chiral tars can be used even in that question. If someone is asking you, it was a question in anthropology, 20 marker question. Describe, or there was something that it was asking about Harappan continuity in present day. So you write about carnelian bead, you write about ethnoarchaeology, you write about chiral tars, you write about the phallus worship. Phallus worship is there even in during Harappan times. Later on, it became Shiva. Even today, we worship nature. Even today, we worship nature. So this is how you integrate topics. Okay. The content is same. It's not that for every question you need to have special content. It should come out of the world. Not like that. The content is by and large same. How you apply that content to answer that particular question in the examination hall is very important. The content is same, but how you apply that in the examination hall is very, very important.
So one question, you just said that you quoted this example of carnelian beads. So did you prepare already the answer for that particular question, whichever was asked, or something related to it?
No, see, the question was straight away on ethnoarchaeology. That's the advantage with archaeology you have. In archaeology, the questions cannot be twisted. What will you twist about Paleolithic age?
Okay, fine.
What question? See, if it's a question is about marriage, I can ask in 100 multiple ways. You also know that. What is marriage as per Nair society? What is marriage? What are ghost marriages? What are transgender marriages? What is feminist angle in the marriage? Why is institution of marriage under threat because of modernization? I can ask 100 questions. In ethnoarchaeology, what is the scope to ask me a question? Tell me.
So you already had it prepared. Yeah.
Yeah. See. Archaeology, you should not. I always believed that archaeology you should not leave.
Right.
Many people leave archaeology. They concentrate. See, paper two is something which is very easy. Everyone concentrates on paper two. Okay, paper two is tribal India and then Indian society. You have this various Sanskritization, Westernization, and all. Paper one, physical anthropology. People become choosy. I will not read. I will not read genetic markers. I will not read that. I will not read evolutionism. I will read only racism. I will read only applications of anthropology. The exam is changing, right? Even the examiner knows what you are skipping. He'll ask from there only. Thought, people generally read only important questions. Victor Turner liminality. No one read. Many people, I don't want to say no one, but many people don't read that concept. Victor Turner, what is this symbolism? What is this interpretative? ओके, अगर ये आए तो चॉइस में छोड़ देंगे. ठीक है, अब 10 मार्क में आ गया. Then what will you do? It came in 10 marks. So people knew it. So examiner knows कि जब ये 20 marks में आएगा लोग छोड़ देंगे. So now he has given it in 10 marks. You cannot leave 10 marker question, right? So we are getting smarter, but the examiner is more smart. And believe me, to cover the complete anthropology, it will take at least 5 to 6 months. It's not that market myth, 2 3 months. You read some standard books written by ex-toppers, you'll get minimum marks, but minimum marks will not fetch your rank. At least I know that minimum marks will not fetch your rank. Yet, all said and done, your optional is the decider. Okay, let's just I'll have some 5 minutes of doubt so that archaeology I don't want to load too much at one point of time because thoda dry topic hai. You will not have that excitement of uh, the tribal plan, fifth schedule, sixth schedule. उसमें जितना interest रहेगा इतना you will not have in this because it's very dry. It's all definitions. It's all about sites and all. So any doubts in today's class? For 5 10 minutes, we will take doubts and then we'll close. It's 8. Okay, we'll close by 8:30.
So whatever I mean, I will ask you about means. Is that fine with you?
Fine, this is being recorded until the other people who see it later, they don't get bored. It's okay.
Okay, I will ask you in the doubt session then, ultimately.
Yeah, doubt session, maybe in last 15 20 minutes, we'll have some discussion on prelims and mains also. Okay, first we'll have prelims because it's coming in June for you people. And it's becoming very much unpredictable. Okay. Now people have come to a stage, prelims was always tough, but now prelims is the toughest stage of the UPSC. The toughest stage, I can say. After 2017, though, you can be assured that prelims is becoming tougher and tougher. 2018 was tough, 19 was tougher, and 20th was the toughest. Lot of conceptual clarity required. That I'll tell you how to. Maybe I'll ask sir if we can have some separate session for prelims, how to handle questions, how to eliminate choices. Let me be honest, no one will know more than 50 to 60 questions in prelims. Is it all India, be it all India rank 1 or someone who did not qualify prelims or all, no one will know more than 60. From 60 to 80 or 85, how you go is the art in prelims. Okay. You see most of the toppers, you see their prelim marks. They cleared prelims by 2 marks, 3 marks. No one will get 150, 160 in prelims. You see all India top 10 ranks, if their mark sheets are available, you just see their marks in prelims. They must have cleared by 3 or 4 marks only. They just know how to clear prelims, that's all. They are not here to get 160, 170 in prelims and yeah, I am the expert of prelims, not required. No, prelims is not counted in marks. It's like your language paper.
Sir,
Yes. Yeah.
sir, can you also provide the framework for thought, like as you have provided the framework for this archaeology answer writing?
Yeah, framework for thought. See, I discussed with Mohan sir also when I was giving my answer writing with sir and all. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss in the last. Just remind me, we'll discuss. See, ultimately, one small thing is sir's book is already having some structure. Okay. So if you see, ultimately, Anthro thought written by Mohan sir also, in end of every theory, he is giving the drawback of the theory also. With regard to Marvin Harris or some thinker, he's, for example, you are talking about functionalism. Okay, functionalism given by Malinowski. So Malinowski, what are the concepts of functionalism, and then why functionalism has failed? Because it always thought that society is a well-oiled machine. It did not give enough focus on materialism. Okay, so you should write the basic premises of functionalism. who are the proponents of functionalism, what is the idea of functionalism, criticism, conclusion. That's all. Got it? Basic premise of functionalism is what everything in the society will serve individual need. Okay, that is the basic premise. Who gave it? Malinowski. What are the various aspects? Physical need, various needs are there. You give that. And what is the criticism? You say Marion Harris said this is the basic criticism, and that is why this could not sustain. That's all. And the beauty of thought is you can use one theory to criticize one more theory. You can criticize evolutionism by using diffusionism. You can criticize diffusionism by using cultural relativism, which was given by Franz Boas. What diffusionism says? Everything is everything came from Egypt or everything is borrowed from other culture. But what cultural relativism says? Everything is independent, right? So you can simply say diffusionism doesn't consider the relativism aspect. It says everything is borrowed from Egypt. No. You got the drawback for diffusionism. For cultural relativism, you again use diffusionism. You say cultural relativism says everything is independent, but what about diffusion? There was some diffusion, right? So it is neglecting the diffusion aspect. So from 2 points, we have made one complete answer. So that is the thing. You can use one theory to speak, criticize other theory. So try to integrate. That's what I'm saying. Even for archaeology, physical anthropology, cultural anthropology, Indian anthropology, whichever thing you are reading, try to integrate. Okay, that is one very good approach by Mohan sir. Don't go into that island mode. Okay, it is genetic marker. I'll read only genetic marker. No. You speak about evolutionism also. And if you see the questions this year, most of the questions are a combination of topics. They are not single topic. No one, I am sure in future in anthropology, there you will not get straightforward questions. No one will say, what is marriage by Kathleen Gow? No. Such questions will not come. This time they have integrated genetics with consanguineous marriages. They said how different marriages impact on the genetic diversity. So see the beauty of the question. They are trying to integrate unit 9 with marriages. That is unit 2. You are understanding. So in over a period of time we have got used to reading, okay, marriage means chapter 2. I'll go and read marriage there. I'll by heart 10 definitions of marriage. I am done. But did you ever relate marriage with genetic diversity? Okay, there is one question called consanguineous or inbreeding. I know the inbreeding coefficient. But did you apply it to marriage rules? In which kind of marriage inbreeding is more? In cross cousin marriages? In parallel cousin marriages? Right? In which part of India the probability of inbreeding is more? Because in North India you have 4-clan rule. In South India you have this cross cousin, matri cross, patri cross and parallel cousin marriages. So the coefficient of inbreeding will be more here in South India. The genetic diversity will be less here. So that is how you integrate. Got it? So if you integrate, then your answers will flow like anything. And that is going to be the future question pattern also. Fine. So we'll meet over next 3 or 4 classes, we'll decide. I'll just inform the institute whenever there is a class. Please excuse me, you may get some short notice like what you got today. But from next class, I'll try to inform at least 1 day before. Okay. In the last class, we'll have it 1.5 hour doubt session. And after that, we'll open it for any discussion. Okay.
So by when do you think we'll be finishing this part, archaeology?
My attempt is to finish it before the second week of February, because see, one class is already over. So in next 3 or 4 classes, we'll be finishing the Paleolithic, Neolithic, Mesolithic, and other cultures. One class I want to dedicate for Harappan culture because it is really very important. Okay, though it has not been asked this year, don't go by year pattern. That is one more thing. Just because a topic is not asked this year, it doesn't become unimportant. It is not that UPSC has moved away from that. No. Next year, I'm 101% sure there will be a question on Harappan civilization. This year also it was indirect question regarding the Aryan debate. Okay. So we will complete in next 3 or 4 classes, and then one class we'll have it for doubts and all. Okay, so we'll meet in the next class. Fine. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, sir.